My name's Chris Williams. I'm one half of the Glass Bees with Jason Das. And this is our project that we did in collaboration with the Hart Island Project on unique places of death. And what we did was we began with the burial records that have been accumulated for people who have been buried on Hart Island for, I think, since around 1980. And we looked at the records. We selected a set of places around Brooklyn that are associated with places that people who are now buried on Hart Island died. And so we went to the locations. We did kind of a collection of objects and images and sounds. Jason did the sketches and the paintings. I did the field recording, which I then chopped up and edited together and mixed together. We have photographs, we have found objects, and we've assembled them into these, they're almost like, altars of sorts for specific people associated with specific places. And, so Jason did a sketch, we took a bunch of pictures, kind of accumulating these sort of quotidian elements and objects that are associated with these places in an effort to remember some of these people who have been forgotten. And that's about it.
And where did you get the sound? What are the examples?
Yeah, so the sounds are, so I should also add that we did this as a part of City Drift. We left 56 Bogart at a little after 9 o'clock on Friday night and finished hanging this 12 o'clock Saturday night. So it was a little over 24 hours. The sounds are they're field recordings. I have a digital recorder and captured sounds from the ambient environment. Some of them are pretty authentic and natural, just sort of samples of ambient sound. In a lot of cases, I also like to chop things up and edit them and re-EQ them to sort of isolate these little sounds that you wouldn't ordinarily pay any attention to or notice or whatever. And I feel particularly in the context of this exhibition, there's something to me at least that's very evocative of just the general experience of going to these places, and with the presence of mind and thinking about the people who died there, who are very much associated with these places in some way, and are very much forgotten, in a very similar way to these sounds and potato chip bags and leaves and sticks and things, are just these things you can pass over and not even notice.
How did you decide to collect this urban detritus?
That's sort of Jason's MO. He brings that to it. I think what we were trying to do was, we were trying to think about this space and this environment and this event and what we could do for this event that would be, interesting to look at. Because I think, we can get very conceptual, but people are going to come in here and you want something that's going to resonate in some way. And so, I think the mixture of paintings and detritus and photographs and sound. It's this very multi-sensual, multimedia experience of these places that we hope really just captures something and evokes something that's within the context of the Hart Island Project. Okay, so one of the unexpected deaths that we experienced during the course of this was the death of my car battery. As we were at 9 o'clock, we left 56 Bogart. We went out into the city. We went to someplace down on Bushwick Avenue to do our first field trip. And when we got back to the car and we were about to go on to our second site, my car didn't start. And so this is a sketch of me on my cell phone with AAA trying to find somebody to give us a tow. So I think when we actually document this on the website, it's going to be another element of the presentation, because we had this. In between a couple of our site visits yesterday, we went to AutoZone and bought a new battery and went back to Jason's apartment on Eastern Parkway and swapped out a battery, before moving on to the next site. So it added a little extra excitement to the. Okay. So this is Jason's painting, and this whole piece is associated with one of the unique places of death at Bushwick Avenue and Varick Street, which is about 3 blocks from here at 56 Bogart. And this is a painting. I think this is looking down Bushwick Avenue. To the left here, just off the site, there's a big housing project. I took a picture of one of the housing projects over here. It's very typical of New York City housing projects. This one was a little bit tense to go here because as I was taking one of those photographs, actually somebody started screaming at me, and it was a bit uncomfortable. And actually, I think it's one of the issues about this and a lot of work like this is, what does it mean to kind of go out to these places, these communities that are existing and try to, exploit them for art, but we're hoping that, through this assemblage of things, we have, potato chip bags. This was a piece of wood that we found, some other detritus. This Corona banner was wrapped around a fence, so we took it off the fence. And this piece is associated with a fellow named Luis Ramos, who died at this location. So this is our piece. This was based on 1323 Dean Street in Brooklyn. This is a piece as a part of our project with the Hart Island Project on a unique place of death. A fellow named Frank Crowder lived or died in this house right here. This site was really interesting. We went there early on Saturday morning, and were really struck by how peaceful the neighborhood was. There are just some beautiful, very old houses on that street down the area, and it was just a very peaceful time just spending there. There was a fellow sweeping leaves in front of his building, and a couple of people walked by. There was a woman who stopped by, and we spoke with her a little bit. So, which is also a fun thing about going out to places like this, is the experience of meeting people, because you're out there and Jason's sitting on the sidewalk painting, and I'm walking around with headphones and a voice recorder, and you look really weird, and people are wondering what you're doing in their neighborhood and what you want and why you're there. It's very unusual. So it's under the best of circumstances, it's a real opportunity to meet people and to talk about what you're doing, and just to have these interactions in places that you wouldn't normally go, and to meet people you wouldn't ordinarily meet. So this is a painting and assemblage associated with a fellow named Matthew Bernard. This was created near the intersection of Classen and Lincoln in Brooklyn. We did this on Friday night. This was our second stop. Interestingly, this location was just around the corner from my partner Jason's apartment. So I think for him particularly, it was interesting because he's in this place every day, or not every day, but he walks past it very often. He knows the area very well, and so it's part of the process. How do you rethink these places? How do you reimagine these places? How do you pay a little more attention to these places than you would if you're just on your way to the coffee shop? So this was nighttime. It's very dark, which I think really captures the nighttime atmosphere of it. We have a painting. We have a photo of an empty storefront right now. It looks like it's being renovated for a new shop, and just kind of a mixture of sort of documentary photography. This one's a little more abstract, and some detritus that we found. So this assemblage is created in remembrance of an unknown black male. According to the Hart Island records, in most cases there is an identity associated with the record, but in some cases, the person had no identification, nobody knew where he came from, and So they didn't know what to do with him. So he ends up on Hart Island. And this site, this was a pretty intense site because we got there just before a torrential rainstorm. And this location at the intersection of Bedford and Atlantic Avenue. It's an armory building. It's one of the old armory buildings, a huge space. And it's currently a homeless shelter, or at least part of it's being used as a homeless shelter. And so some of the men who spend their time there were on the sidewalk outside. It was, fortunately for us, there was a scaffolding around the building, which you can kind of see here. And we took shelter on it for probably close to an hour during a complete downpour. I should also mention in these are all the visuals, but we also did field recording and did accumulated a lot of sounds. And so when you listen to the sound piece, there are a lot of water sounds in the middle part of it. At the right where Atlantic and Bedford come together, there had accumulated these massive puddles. And as the cars went by, it was kind of like being at the beach. It's just the sound of the waves kind of washing over this location. So this is fun too. Jason installed all of this while he was doing the sound mix last night, and he made these almost little sculptures out of some of the things that we found there. I think that this one in particular we're really excited about, and then we have these are some of the stairs and some of the scaffolding of the armory. The painting was very sort of gray. I think he kind of captured the downpour pretty well in the area. This one, this assemblage is based on a location at 65 Gates Avenue I think it's in Clinton Hill or thereabouts. This building, this is 65 right here, and I think the date was around 1980. A fellow named Cyril Monroe was found here dead in some way, this was really interesting, and I found myself thinking as I was there, just because Clinton Hill has really become very gentrified over the last decade and a half, very beautiful neighborhood, and yet around 1980, it just because a lot of the people who end up getting buried on Hart Island tend to be people with minimal resources. It was just an opportunity to kind of think about gentrification and the changes in the neighborhood and things that happen. While we were here, you can kind of see it up here. So this sort of blue abstract thing is actually a garbage bag. There's a little, you can't see it behind the car, but there's a little fence here, the garbage can there. And this was just kind of a close-up shot of that. And I was sitting there with my voice recorder, or my sound recorder, and recording. It was a little bit breezy when we were there, and so I heard the rustling of the wind kind of blowing the trash bag. And so I was down there on one knee, sort of recording it when the people who live in the house now walked up, and I think they were a little confused about what I was doing there. But once again, it was a really nice opportunity to have a conversation because they're they're renters that haven't lived there very long, and when we explained to them what we were doing and why we were there, I think they were very kind of excited, I think, to learn about it and just to learn a little bit about the history of the place, and a little surprised just about just what the history is in that place, and just having an opportunity to remember somebody who was associated with their place 3 decades ago maybe.
These are the Hart Island burial records, and here's Cyril Monroe, age 62. Looks like it was in the fall of 1983 actually that he was found, and he was buried on Hart Island.